You can run a complicated life with your eyes closed. You can give your best friend advice that changes hers. Yet you can't make a decision about your own life without analyzing it for 3 days straight. If that's you, listen closely because what you may have been calling a confidence problem probably isn't one. Welcome back to Radiantly Rooted with Rachel. If you are coming back from last week's episode on the chakras, today we're going into the deeper layer underneath all of that, the one that I couldn't get into in just one episode. And if you are brand new here, welcome. You don't need to have heard the first one to follow this. So go ahead and pour your coffee or your tea and settle on in. Now, I want to start somewhere that might feel a little bit unexpected today. And it's not because the topic is unexpected, but because of the way that most of us experience it is. So picture this. You are throwing a surprise party. Maybe it's for somebody you love. The guest list is locked. You've got the venue booked. You've got the timeline down to the minute, and people keep telling you they don't know how you do it. But then in your own mind, while you're driving to pick up the cake, you start to second guess everything. Did I send the right address? Did I forget to invite somebody? Is the timing right? Should I double check? That part of you, the one second guessing yourself while everything's coming together perfectly, we're going to come back to her. But first, I want to talk about a different scene. So this one, your closest friend calls you about a tough decision that she's facing. It might be whether to leave her marriage, whether to take the new job, whether to confront somebody that she loves. You listen, you ask the right questions, you help her see clearly, and she thanks you. She tells you nobody else helps her think through these things the same way that you do. But then later that same night, you're lying in bed thinking about your own life, about a decision that you've been avoiding for months, about a question that you don't know how to answer. And that's when you realize you have no idea what you actually want. Now, if either of those scenes feels familiar, today's episode is for you because what you're noticing isn't a confidence problem. By every external measure, you're confident. You can be confident. People know it. They come to you for it. They count on you and rely on you. What you're noticing is that gap between confidence and self-trust. And until today, you maybe didn't have the clear language for what that gap actually is. So here's where we're going today. We're going to talk about the difference between self-confidence and self-trust and why so many capable, confident women have one without the other. We're also going to talk about why no amount of accomplishment fixes it and what actually does. So many of us know this feeling, but we don't have the words for it yet. Looking fine on the outside, capable, solid, strong. People come to you when they need guidance. They come to you when they're falling apart. You're the friend with a steady voice, the one who can hold space for that tough conversation. And then you go home and you can't figure out what you actually want for dinner, let alone the bigger stuff, right? Raise your hand in the comments if that's you, because I've been there myself, my friend. We've mistaken this for a confidence problem. We've tried to fix it with more achievement, more doing, more credentials, more proof. But the problem with that is the achievement doesn't fill the gap because confidence isn't actually the gap that needs to be filled. And so my intention is that by the end of today's episode, you're going to have the language for that gap. You'll understand why what you've been doing hasn't worked, and you'll know it actually rebuilds that thing you've been missing. This is the most important distinction that I've learned in my own work, and it changed so much about how I started showing up every single day. So self-confidence is the belief that you can do things. You can handle the meeting, you can run the project, you can plan the surprise party for 40 people without missing a beat. Confidence is earned through external validation, a track record of achievements or expertise, the proof that you've collected over a lifetime of getting things done. It lives in your head and it's built by repetition. I did it once, I can do it again. I succeeded, so I can succeed. Most of us have built confidence beautifully. We've earned it, and you should be proud of that. I know that I am. Self-trust is something else. Self-trust is the knowing that you can hear yourself. It's knowing what you actually want, knowing what's true for you, trusting your own inner voice, even when nobody else does. Even when no one else can see what you see, they don't have your vision. Self-trust is earned through internal evidence, listening to and acting on your own knowing. And this lives in the body, not in your mind. Self-trust is built by a different kind of repetition. I felt the no. I honored it. I survived. I felt the yes. I acted on it. I expanded. Every time I listened to myself and the world didn't end, because it can be hard, right? My self-trust grew a little bit more. And so here's the cleanest way that I know to say it. Confidence is about ability. Self-trust is about authority. Confidence says, I can do this. I know I can do this. Self-trust says, I know it's right for me and I can act from that place of knowing. Here's something I've learned that surprises a lot of women that I've worked with. You can be wildly capable and still not trust yourself. They're different muscles. They develop differently. They live in different parts of you. And I want to repeat that because it changes the whole game. You can be wildly capable and still not trust yourself. We're developing different muscles that live in different parts of us. And so here's what happens when you have one without the other. A confident woman without self-trust will keep doing forever. She'll achieve more, she'll prove more, she'll deliver more. Every accomplishment will be real and earned and impressive. And she'll feel lost in her own life because confidence keeps you doing, but self-trust is what lets you actually feel alive and connected to this life that you're building. This is the shame that we carry that we may not even notice, and we certainly don't say out loud. A life looks beautiful from the outside, but you can't fully enjoy it from the inside. That gap, that is the one that we're naming today. Now, there are reasons for this. They are not your fault. Our culture, think about it, our culture rewarded girls for doing, not for trusting themselves. Good grades, achievements, be helpful, be useful, be impressive. We built that track record for confidence early on, and we built it hard. And at the same time, we were taught, don't trust your own read on things. Ask the teacher, ask the expert, defer to the authority. You couldn't possibly know already, so go find someone who does. And so confidence developed and self-trust got overridden. And then layer on the personal stuff on top of that, years of overriding your own inner voice to keep the peace, saying yes when your body said no, pushing through when something felt off, doing what was expected instead of what felt true to you. Every single time you overrode that inner voice, that was a small message that you were sending yourself. My inner voice isn't reliable. I shouldn't trust it. I should trust the room or the people around me more than I trust myself. And here's the thing that nobody told you. Decades of that. And the self-trust erodes and you don't even notice it. It doesn't make a sound when it goes. You didn't lose your self-trust. You've been conditioned against it without even knowing it, without even realizing it. So let's just sit with that for a second. Here's the moment self-trust shows up. And here's where it also gets most overridden. Someone asks you to do something, take on something, commit to something, and there's a 5-second window, just 5 seconds, when your body knows the answer. That no that shows up before your mind can make it reasonable. The yes that shows up before your fear talks you out of it. And let's be real, most of us have trained ourselves to bulldoze those 5 seconds. We go straight to the answer we think we're supposed to give. Been there? Yeah? Give me a hand raise in the comments. Let me know. We give the answer that keeps people happy. The one that makes us look generous and capable and steady. Self-trust is the slow practice of catching yourself in those 5 seconds. Catching yourself and listening inward. It's that small and that big. That simple and that challenging. So let me tell you what won't fix this. More achievement won't, and you've probably done plenty of that already. More confidence building exercises won't. That's the wrong muscle entirely. Reading more books, taking more courses, downloading another app. Check, check, check. All of those are super helpful, but none of them are the actual work. So what rebuilds self-trust is a small, repeated practice of listening to your own inner voice and acting on it. Listening and acting. 5-second pauses honored instead of overridden. That no that is spoken instead of swallowed. The yes that you act on instead of overthinking it and analyzing it away. Every single one of those actions is a vote of confidence in you. Everyone is a tiny rep at that gym of self trust. And like any practice, it builds slowly, but then suddenly. Here's what I invite you to really hear: self trust isn't a thought you have, it's a body level capacity. It lives in your nervous system, it lives in the way that you can sit with discomfort instead of running from it. It lives in the way your gut speaks to you before your mind does. Your body holds wisdom that your head doesn't have access to. And until we let the body back into the conversation, we're trying to rebuild self trust with the wrong tools. This is the part that I love. This is the part that nobody told me when I started this work: the chakra system. When you take it out of the new age aisle and you bring it back into its ancient context, it is one of the most precise roadmaps for rebuilding self trust in our busy modern lives that I have found so far. The chakras offer us a layer by layer map of how self trust comes back online. So let me walk you through. Now, if you want to go deeper into the chakras, check out last week's episode where we covered the 7 primary chakras and talked about how these energetic vortices can influence how we show up in our day to day lives. For today's purposes, we're going to be talking about this through the lens of self trust. So, the root chakra, nervous system safety. You can't hear yourself when you're in that state of chronic stress. So, self trust starts at the ground level. Your sacral chakra, feeling. Self trust starts with letting yourself feel what you actually feel. Sounds simple, not easy, right? Not what you should feel, not necessarily what you want to feel, even, but letting yourself feel what's actually there. And then when we move up to the solar plexus, personal power, the fire to act on what you perceive, to do something with the signs that your body's giving you. Our heart chakra, worthiness, the belief that what you sense is worth honoring, that you matter enough to listen to. Your throat chakra, voice, saying the thing that you sense out loud, even when it disappoints somebody. Your third eye chakra, knowing, trusting the inner voice as it arrives. No more second guessing it into oblivion, no more analysis paralysis. Again, I'm famous for that one. Crown chakra, wholeness, the recognition that you were trustworthy all along. She's been there the whole time, your inner voice. It hasn't gone anywhere. We've just gotten conditioned to tune her. And so the point of all of this is that self-trust isn't a single skill. It's a body level capacity that has to be recognized and rebuilt at every layer. So remember at the beginning of this episode where I promised that you'd walk away with language for the gap between self-confidence and self-trust. Now you have it. Confidence is about ability. Self-trust is about authority. You've been confident in your ability for years. You've been conditioned against your own self-trust without even realizing it. And what rebuilds it isn't more confidence. It's the slow, body level work of listening to your own inner knowing again. This is the work that I teach inside Radiantly Rooted. I call it the yoga of coming home to yourself, because that's what it actually is, a homecoming. And the foundation that we lay along the way, the thing that holds everything else up, is your self-trust. The chakras are just one of the maps for how we rebuild it, layer by layer, day by day, the way real things get rebuilt. If what we talked about today is hitting close to home, I want to invite you to something. Radiantly Rooted opens for enrollment on May 18th, less than 2 weeks from now. And it's where I take women through that slow, layered work of peeling back the layers and rebuilding self-trust. And it's not as a concept, but instead it's a lived, daily, body level homecoming. And so let's take a moment to picture what this looks like for you. You wake up on a Thursday morning, there's space between you and what the world asks of you. A few breaths before the doing starts. You ask your body what it needs today, and you actually listened because you remembered how. You feel like yourself before the day takes over and tells you who to be. That's what we build inside Radiantly Rooted. It's not a routine, but a return to the woman who's been there the whole time, the woman that's been overridden and silenced for so many years. She's forgotten how to tune in and hear her own inner voice. So if you want to be the first to know when doors open, the waitlist is open right now. It's at rachelhupp.com/radiantly rooted. And don't worry, I'll drop the link right at the top of the show notes and the YouTube description. Founding members are going to get something special that I cannot wait to share. So if you have felt yourself nodding along to this whole episode, that's your sign. Trust your inner voice to get on the list, my friend. And if this is your first time here, or if you're nodding along but you're not quite ready for the program, I have something for you too. My free chakra quiz. It tells you which 2 or 3 of those 7 centers we just talked about are the most out of balance for you right now, which means it's going to tell you exactly where your self-trust most needs tending. And that's the easiest place to start. You can take that at rachelhupp.com/chakra quiz. And it'll also be linked in the show notes and the description below. It's just a few minutes. It'll give you a personalized result, and it'll make a whole lot of what we talked about today land in your body and not just in your head. All right, one more time because I'm so excited. Doors for Radiantly Rooted open on May 18th, 2026. The waitlist is rachelhupp.com/radiantly rooted. Get on there so you're the first to know and you can get those limited time bonuses. Thank you for being here today. Truly, if this episode shifted something for you, share it with one woman in your life who needs to hear it. She's probably the friend that you go to for advice, the one that has it all together. The one you'd never guess is second guessing herself constantly. She's the one. Send it to her and tell her you saw her because you saw yourself more clearly. You don't need more confidence. You need to trust yourself again. Both are possible, but one of those is the deeper work. All right, my friend, take a deep breath. And I will see you next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for listening to Radiantly Rooted with Rachel. If this episode brought you a little more clarity, grounding, or inspiration, I'd love it if you shared it with a friend or left a quick review. It really helps more women find this space and feel supported on their own path. And if you are craving more soulful support, head on over to rachelhupp.com to join my email list. That's where I send free resources, gentle guidance, and invitations to go deeper. Until next time, trust yourself and root in to what matters. Because the life you want, it starts by coming back home to you.